Charlie Raglan, welcome to Cheltenham Town, signed on loan to the end of the season. How do you feel about signing for the club?
Yeah, delighted. Once I knew there was a bit of interest, I was obviously keen to come, and then having spoken to the manager, it made it all the more sort of a good prospect for me, and I'm looking forward to getting started.
Of course, just 7 days ago you played for Oxford United against Cheltenham. Did you know, it was quite a tight game that night. Did you get a good impression of what Cheltenham were about?
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't just me. You know, most of the lads come off the pitch that day, and really sort of knew they'd been in the game. So for me, at that point, probably thinking, you know, am I going to come to join Cheltenham? I was even more sort of pleased to be joining a decent team on the up. Had a good run, obviously. So yeah, no, it made a good impression.
Yeah, what are you hoping to achieve from your time here at the club?
Well, obviously I've not played a lot of football, so personally for me, if I could get a run of games, that'd be great. But I'm not putting too many objectives on the season, because you never know in football. But no, I'm confident of coming, and if I get the opportunity, and I am consistent in performances, then yeah, for me, I want to play regularly and do well for the team. If I'm doing well, hopefully the team's doing well. And it's all about Cheltenham, you know, getting a good run again, hopefully in the league. I'm
sure the Robins fans will have, of course, seen you play last week. But if they didn't quite catch you, what sort of player are we going to be looking at when you're playing for the club?
Well, mate, I'm definitely a centre back. Enjoy defending. Want to defend. You know, desire to keep the ball out of the net. I know it's cliche, but it is what my main objective is. Obviously, if I'm part of a team that plays attractive football, but winning football, then all the better.
Let's talk about your career then. Quite an interesting start of football education for you, because I think you grew up in Tenerife, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Was learning football at that age different to the way perhaps it would be learnt for English players over here?
Possibly. It was obviously better weather year round, better pitches year round. Maybe a culture of passing the ball, and which maybe wasn't always the case here, sort of 15-20 years ago. But no, it was a great place to grow up. Regardless of the football, it was great to learn another language, to meet so many people from different cultures, and hopefully that sort of helped me grow as an individual.
Yeah, and then of course you came back to England and you came through the ranks at Port Vale. What was that like as an experience for you? Because of course you'd end up back at Vale Park on loan last season.
Yeah, it was probably outside of, you know, joining the top club. That was probably the best thing for me, because it was a real sort of old school, tough place to learn, to come into as a basically a schoolboy. You know, 15, 16, to go straight in there with tough manager, tough senior players. And it was a proper education in that sense, and again that gave me another string to my bow, I would have hoped, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And going back last year was a bit different. It was a different club, and again that probably didn't work out as well as I would have liked it to.
Yeah, you used the word tough there about your first spell at Port Vale. Of course, you also came through the system in non-league, you know, playing for the likes of Hinckley and so on. Was that also a massive learning for you in terms of understanding that side of the game too?
Yeah, well, it proved the point that playing first team football was most important. I was sort of 18, 19 at that point, and I probably wasn't ready for League Two without, or League Two or League One, or without playing regularly in anyone's first team. So to go down to that level, I mean, it's a good level, Conference North, and then even below that to play regularly with FC United, that was what got me sort of ahead in the game, and gave me that extra bit to push on and get back to a level that I really want to stay at for a long time.
Yeah, and that spell at FC United, what was that like? Because of course at that level they're quite a unique club, obviously the history behind it, and also the size of the crowds they sometimes get. That must have been a really good learning for you to make the step up eventually back into the Football League.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at purely a football club to play for, take away everything else, it was unbelievable. Growing up a Manchester United fan, you know, singing the songs and hearing that, you know, we'd get 5,000 people to a game when the average was 200 or 300 in that league. So yeah, it felt like they were the best games and the biggest games, and it was just a great time, and I played, I don't know, 40 odd games that season, and that was what I needed, exactly what I needed, and it was a great club to do it for.
Yeah, and that opportunity to go up into League One with Chesterfield, a big club at that level. What was that like? It must have been fantastic to get all the games you did in your spell there.
Yeah, exactly. It was about progression again. I'd say starting where I started and having the tough but good education at Vale, and then leaving to start again, getting that break, and then getting the opportunity to play sort of 25-30 games in League One straight from non-league was unbelievable. And we had some really good players there, players that went on to play in the Premier League and in the Championship. So yeah, that was another good time, and I was fortunate to be part of that.